Hello, hello, and happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, you are here with In the Loop. Greg Nibbler and I are here to share some big news with you in the world of finance and, of course, in tech. And so we have a lot of fun things to talk about. So we're going to just jump right in. For those of you who are new, welcome to In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. I'm Winnie's son, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and a host also of Level Up, which can be found on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, to just name a few. And of course, we are here live on, I think we're like on 12 different platforms. Are we on today, Greg? How you doing, by the way?
For joining in here today, and yeah, I think it's a bunch of platforms that we're on right now. I see Vicky joining in, and feel free, everybody to leave your comments and let us know how you're doing. CrossX Spider, good to see you too. Yeah, we've got some fun stuff to talk about today. Some interesting things. Maybe not everybody will find it as fun, but definitely interesting because I don't know if you've seen what's going on with Twitter, but we have some news on that we're going to be covering, and then I've got some other interesting things that we'll bring up too. Like maybe about how we can talk to animals. That's actually a topic that's going to be up later on today here on the show. But for anybody who doesn't know, I'm Greg Nibbler, longtime tech reporter. I've covered all kinds of different things in technology and even sports, comedy, lots of stuff. But mostly for this show, I'm going to be talking about some pretty cool tech that is going on. So really excited to bring that up here.
So talking to animals, Greg, I can't wait to hear that. I used to want to talk to my dog for the long, I was like, do you understand me? But I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. And I know we're going to have some good discussions on the Twitter front too. So let's start with the lowdown. I mean, lowdown. Let's talk about the financial, how we close and all that. And then let's jump in because I definitely want to hear what you have to share. So first off, I wish I had some good news. It started off sort of positive news, but unfortunately the market triple down day today. The Dow closed down over 500 points at 505. NASDAQ down 366 points. S&P 500 also down 96 points. Unfortunately, we were expecting Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to come out and talk about increasing interest rates. We were expecting 3/4 of a point or 0.75 increase on interest rates, and surely the Fed didn't disappoint. That's what they did. They raised interest rates yet again, now the highest level since January of 2008. Not a good thing, especially if you owe money. Definitely not a good thing. But there was a lot of talk, of course, of what this means for the future and if we're going to continue to see rate hikes of this nature, of this magnitude going forward. But Powell did say that he expects things maybe to slow down in the future, but we're definitely not quite there yet. There's even talk and sort of speculation that there'll be another rate hike in December and that maybe it'll just be 0.5%, which I don't know. People would expect that, and it's just a 0.5%. They're probably not going to be that happy about it. But certainly, a lot of things going forward, and a lot of economists are saying that they're really hoping that the Fed starts to slow down these rate hikes and maybe decrease how frequent they are as well. And hopefully in 2023, there's going to be some positive news. But currently, as we stand, not so. And that's why you're seeing the market get hammered today. Okay. So I'm going to segue a little over to another area. And then this is an area I know that Greg and I talk about when we do our fun shows as well. But let's talk about Netflix. Okay. Netflix is rolling out, for those of you who don't know, starting tomorrow. If you feel like you're paying too much for Netflix or you don't have Netflix because you think it's too expensive in general, this might be a little bit of a relief. It's rolling out this new platform, this ad-supported tier or platform, which is going to be $6.99 or $7 rolled up a month. So at $7 a month, you're going to be able to get Netflix. This will be its cheapest plan. The second cheapest is called the basic plan. But starting tomorrow, you can actually get this plan. It'll have a slightly less high quality video stream, and you're going to have to deal with commercials. By doing so, you will save some money. So this is going to be, you're going to get about 4 to 5 minutes of ads, they say, per hour. These ads will run about 15 to 30 seconds long. But yeah, if you have Netflix currently too, it's not one of those things where you have to cancel and sign up completely. You can actually go to your account under plan details into your account settings, and you can literally change plans. So you can change the cheaper plan starting tomorrow. Now, if you are thinking maybe you might want to do that, it probably doesn't hurt to, go to that less expensive platform and see how you like it for the next few months. And if you can live with some commercials, you can save a little bit of money as well. So that's starting tomorrow. So I want to make sure everybody had that on their radar. I know they have like the premium plan and the better 4K. I'm guessing, Greg, you have the nicer plan, right?
I do have the nicer one on that, but I mean, I'll tell you, there's so many streaming services that I do have the ad supported one for a couple of them, and
Okay.
it's not that bad.
It's
It's
not that.
not that bad. I mean, I prefer not to have them at all, but like I think I have Peacock, which is the ad supported one, because I don't watch enough on there that it matters. Although now I'm into Yellowstone, so I'm like
Mhm.
I'm watching Yellowstone on there, but it's got the ads. I just started it, by the way. Now I get it. It's so good. But
Really? Okay.
yeah, for me anyway, it kind of falls right into something that I would like. I don't know if it's for everybody, but it's like Succession and Sons of Anarchy only set on a ranch. So that's what it is for me. But the ad part of it though, it's a little bit distracting if you're really involved in something. But if you want something for cheaper, I mean, saving that money, it's not a bad. I don't mind it that much, as long as they keep the price down. You know, it's got to be significantly cheaper if you're doing that.
Yeah, and I think that's the case. I mean, we're seeing Sadiq talk about $7 a month is more profitable than $8 Twitter verification per month, and we're going to talk about that, Sadiq. I know
Oh
for
yeah.
sure. But yeah, and Vicky is, Vicky is wanting, more ads, and more ads and everything. But like Greg said, I have ad supported Hulu as well, and I'm with you,
Hmm.
Greg. It doesn't. I think it's okay if I get to watch the shows I want to watch. I can deal with it. It's
Yeah.
not something I love, but I think I have like the Hulu plan where I think I got it like one of. So just so you know, it's almost a holiday season, and some of these incredible deals come during the holiday season. I want to say I have the Hulu plan for like $1 or $1.99 a month. It's one of those
Oh yeah.
plans, so I can deal with the commercials for sure. But yeah, so keep that in mind. If that's something you want, and let's say you're paying for Netflix and you want to save some money, especially since we're going into the holidays, do you know that becomes available tomorrow? And you can actually downgrade your plan starting tomorrow. And of course, your existing plan will stay until the next billing cycle, and then you will drop to the lower price option. So if you have Netflix, you're hoping to save a couple bucks, that might be a way to go. But I want to segue to this other story, Greg, that I don't know if you saw, but I thought this was so fascinating. So you've heard of the 4-day work week, right? We talked about this before on the show, but have you heard of the 4-day weekend? I love the idea of a 4-day weekend. So get this. It seems that a lot of people just really don't want to work so many consecutive days. No surprise there, right? The less we can work, the more we can relax. I'm sure we can all agree. But interesting enough, they're finding this to be one company in particular says that this is the key to hiring more Gen Z employees. In fact, Gen Z employees love the 4-day work week. And so there was a company, in fact, you've heard of it, Chick-fil-A. Now, this is in Miami, Florida, and about 18 different locations in Miami, Florida. It's being reported that they are now hiring employees and giving them 4-day weekends. So this company, they told this magazine, QSR magazine, that they started doing this in February of this year. And so what they did is they basically of all their employees, they create two groups of employees, right? Two different pods. That's what they're calling them. And so these people are working 3 consecutive days of between 13 to 14-hour shifts. So certainly long days, but now two different shifts. But by doing so, I guess everybody who's part of one of these pods now gets a 4-day weekend. Um, and they're saying because they've done that, they've seen a dramatic increase in like obviously employee satisfaction. But they also say what's really nice about it is they feel like in terms of the quality of food they're putting out is much better. It's much more efficient. There's consistency. And like they said that in terms of food safety inspections, they said it's been literally perfect, quote unquote. This is what they're talking about. So this is kind of exciting. Not 4-day work week, but 4-day weekend, Greg. What do
Love
you
it.
think about this?
I love it. I mean, yeah, as long as you can get, the full 40 hours, and it sounds like they've worked that out if they're doing 13 to 14 hours a day. So they're still
Hmm.
getting their full wage in. Yeah, I am all for that. I mean, I've worked some long days before, especially, through college and some different jobs that I've had. After 10 hours, it doesn't really matter that much tacking on. I feel like anyway, another 3 to 4 hours, especially if you get a full day. as a
Mhm.
reward for that. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And
It's
sounds like
awesome,
it's
right?
working for them. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like it's working for them. I think there's a lot of companies that could really use this as an example because, like just like
yeah,
you said, Greg, like in the financial industry, 14-hour days is not atypical. Like
yeah,
I remember like working, at crack of dawn and then leaving when after the cleaning crew would come and clean the office, then I would actually get to go home. I think there's a lot of industries like that, especially healthcare, right? So
yeah.
a lot of them already work this sort of like pod type of hours, but they're saying that this is a little different from the 4-day work week. And they're saying that Gen Z employees love this. And if you want to stay competitive, you really want to attract that type of employee base, right? That this is the way to do it. So you're still getting that coverage that you need. You're just
Hmm.
creating two separate pods of employees. And it seems like it's just making things a little bit more organized. It's just making sure there's 3 consecutive days and the 4 days off. So you're just not putting people all over the place, right? So
Yeah,
they also reported in this article I was reading that said that a lot of companies have already implemented 4-day work weeks, and they've noticed definitely an increase in happiness in terms of work-life balance and attracting that Gen Z employee base. So I'm excited to see where this go. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think that's a great experiment to see how it works. And like I said, I mean, if it ends up that everything, all the work it gets done, and everything is accomplished, then yeah, why not?
then why not, right?
Everybody's happy then.
Then everyone's happy. And we got to take some
Yeah.
comments because when I see, I know we saw, Vicky Garvey is joining from Facebook Live and saying, like, and thank you so much, Vicky, for coming, supporting us. And I know she's going to check on our tweet chat later, which I appreciate. Tedra is joining us from LinkedIn Live and saying
Nice.
that Tedra has added Hulu. As well, and would love a 4-day weekend and work extra
Yeah.
hours. Me too, right?
Yep.
Vicky says 40-hour burnout. So true. Most people work from home nowadays. And let's just say, like, I don't know about you, working from home is great, but certainly I feel like I'm working more hours than I was working in the office. But I don't
Yeah.
know. For some people, I know the how quiet quitting thing, maybe they're not, but yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be
That's a hard
interesting to see.
balance. But
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, that's I don't know. I think that's cool. I think if things start transitioning more that way, I think we would all like more time off, just for mental
Right?
health. You know.
Yeah. And by the way, Elon, if you're watching us today, maybe you could write this down. This is an important, put on post-it. Make sure you guys think about this, okay? When you're trying to rebuild it. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But Greg, I have one more thing that I
Hmm.
want to share because I'm all about the good news, right? Whenever I can grab it, especially in the financial world. But Greg, this is just for you. I was thinking about this and all of you are watching. Let me tell you, I always try to bring Greg these really smart, small, fun things because I think they're going to add value to his life. Well, here's some good news. As you know, when you get to the end of the year during the holidays, there's some really incredible shopping deals, but there's also really great credit card offers. And so, our friends at Chase, they have these new credit, or they're not new credits, but they're old credit cards. In fact, I own most of these credit cards, but they have several business credit cards that have no annual fee, and they are offering some of the biggest sign-on bonuses I have ever seen. In fact, I'll point out two for you, Greg. One is the unlimited, okay, and then one is the cash card, business cash, which is my favorite Chase credit card. But these have no annual fee, and if you put a specific spend on them, I think I'm reading now, it says 6,000. If you put 6,000 on them in 3 months, you pick up 90,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points. To give you an idea of how much that is, that's like that's like 3 round trip tickets, domestically. And if you book during, like, those point bonuses, that could even be like 4 tickets, just depending on how you. And these are really flexible points. You can use them for hotel, travel, like flights, all sorts of different things. Even you can even use the points to buy Apple products or gift cards or something. But I love this, and I haven't seen this big a sign-on bonus in years, Greg. So remember, I told you I would tell you more about points amounts. This is one, Greg. I thought of you and make sure it's on your radar. I'm sharing with everybody who's watching.
Definitely. Yeah. What was which one was it again that you get the 90,000 points on?
So it's the Chase Inc. Unlimited, right? Which
Chase
is
Ink
where you get
Unlimited.
1.5% on all your spend, points earning on when you spend. And then the other one I love is the Chase Inc. Cash Card, which is great if you buy office supplies. It gives you 5 times points per round. And both of them have no annual fee, which I really like. That's why. So, like, no annual fee, and then great great savings. And if you're going to be doing some holiday shopping, in the next 3 months, or you're self-employed and you have to pay estimated taxes, these are great ways to earn points on the spend that you have to do anyways. I wouldn't go out of my ways. If you don't think you can spend 6,000 in 3 months, I definitely would not recommend doing this. But I know for a lot of business owners out there, this is a time where they're doing a lot of gifting and whatnot. This can make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I love it.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to look into that right after this show. So, thank you. I love getting
No
those kinds of
problem.
tips. See?
And then now
Um,
we gotta go. I want to hear, Greg. What do you have to share? I can't wait to get your insight too on like how to speak to animals. But yeah,
yes. Yeah, we'll get to that part definitely. But
okay,
before we do, you brought it up, Twitter. I feel like it would. I feel like just kind of talking about this, and especially with everybody who's watching too, because I want to get opinions. I mean, we're all seeing so many polarized opinions about what's going on, and I kind of wanted to recap what's happened, and then there's some speculation about what's going to happen. So kind of cover that too. But we are in the full era, as we all know, of Elon for Twitter. So he has complete control. The things we know, and more is coming out. Now that pretty much all of the C-suite executives at Twitter are gone, if not all of them. The board of directors is gone. Everything is now running through him. So we know that's happening, and he's certainly been talking about it a lot on Twitter. If you follow him on there, he's saying all kinds of things. We can have opinions about that too, but that's established. So we know that. One other thing that he has said anyway, as far as what's going to be coming, has to do with moderation. Right? That was one of the biggest questions I think everybody had when he was taking over. Is how is it going to be moderated? Is it going to be moderated? Is just going to open the floodgates, and everybody who was removed from the platform, are they all going to be coming back on just immediately? And from what he stated is that he's going to be setting up a moderation council of varying viewpoints that will be how moderation and decision on who gets taken off or put back on is going to be decided. So how that works, we've had no indication on how that's going to happen. He just said that nothing is going to happen until that is formed. So that, again, we just have to take him at his word because there's no real accountability here. He doesn't have to do any of this, but that's what he said he's going to do. So I don't think, for a lot of people, it was like maybe a former president going to be let back on to the platform right away. Sounds like that's not going to happen, at least not right now. It could happen in the future, but right now that's not going to. And so that's just kind of some of this stuff. If anybody wants to talk about the moderation side, we certainly can discuss that. But I think the big thing, that I've been seeing this week that's a lot of discussion has to do with the verification and what is going to be going on with the blue check marks. And Winnie, I want to hear your thoughts on this too, and everybody else. There was, I know he started off, the rumors were that it was going to be $20 a month that you had to pay to keep your check mark, or to, I guess buy one. And then I saw him going back and forth with Stephen King, of all people, who was saying that Stephen King was like, I'm not paying. And then I guess it's settled now, at least according to him. And again, nothing official is rolled out. This is all just really based on his tweets, is that it's going to be $8 a month. And if you don't pay that, your check mark will be removed if you have one. If you do pay it, I guess you're going to be able to apply for one. And then you get the advantages of Twitter Blue, which that seems to be in fluctuation as well, like priority tweets or less ads. There's a lot of things thrown out there. And then the edit button, although it sounds like the edit button may be going to everybody anyway. It's so confusing.
mm-hmm.
But as far as the check mark, as far as the verification thing, I would be curious. I don't want to put you on the spot, Winnie, but if you had thoughts on that, I know for both of us, we're verified on there. What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting, Ged, that you asked that, because I don't know if you saw earlier today on Twitter, it was trending rat verified. And so people were actually doing hashtag rat verified and put like a little rat in their name. It was so funny. But yeah, I mean, like just people like yourself, myself, and certainly a lot bigger celebrities than us, right? They sort of rely on that blue check mark, because that, we went through the process of verifying that we are who we are. They needed us to provide like verification of ID and everything, so that you knew that if you were, tweeting someone, that it was the real such and such person, like The Rock or somebody, right?
Yeah.
here's the thing, what I would say about this: $8 a month does add up. We're talking about almost $100 a year, right? On
Yeah.
top of everything else that you're paying. If you're paying for Netflix, you're paying for Amazon Prime, all this stuff adds up. The thing that he said about this is so if you can pay $8 a month, does that mean that he's assuming that bots and trolls can't pay $8 a month? Because that's sort of the
Right.
idea, right? So maybe that's the case. Maybe if you own like 1,000 bots, you're not going to want to pay $8,000 a month, and therefore maybe that would come. But then he says, so for those um who are real influence, or I guess real people of interest, like verified people that normally we verify, then you would get this like really quiet notation like you see for politicians. They have it like, like for example, like Gavin Newsom, who's the governor of California. You can see it says like California governor candidate or whatever. So I know it's kind of weird to me, but I will
Yeah.
say this is one thing. I think what he's trying to do, the goal of his goal is, of course, one thing you can say about Elon: he might be special, might be different, might be completely different, the type of person that you are. But one thing he's good at is making money. And so if he can get more people to pay $8 a month to him, he'll get his investment back very, very quickly. So he tests the idea of $20. Now it's down to $8, which is $100. There's going to be enough people to pay for it. And I imagine people like you and I, Greg, will probably end up having to pay for it, because one of the things that it will allow us to do is to share longer video and longer audio,
Yeah.
which is so critical to what we do, right? But it's also saying that he said he might be able to take away some of the paywalls on articles, which I'm hoping that anytime an article trends, that the paywall is removed, because I feel like that's necessary. For me, I just feels like spam if I can't read the article and you're telling me it's trending. Um,
Hmm.
but I think he's just, looking for every way that he can to make money
Yeah.
off of Twitter as soon as possible. And if it means bring back people that were previously blocked, you've already seen that happen. A lot of people that were blocked previously. And did you see Greg? It was saying that, like, in terms of the negative or derogatory content in Twitter, the percentage of increase since he acquired Twitter, it's like astronomical.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's
crazy
sad.
how many things are trending, just some bad things that are being said
Bad
on there.
things.
Yeah.
And he
And
said some of it. He said some of that.
exactly, some of the stuff that he's sent out, and
Mhm.
then deleted. So, and that's part of that moderation thing, from what I've read anyway. And again, since it's all internal, we don't really have an
Who's gonna
official,
moderate? Kanye West? I mean,
right?
let's be honest. Like, you probably have to be like a friend of Elon's to be moderating, and
Yeah.
that's really disturbing.
Yeah. And it seems like they've gotten rid of a lot of the people, or removed access to a lot of the people who were moderating internally with Twitter. I read one article that said it's down to like 15 people who are handling it, which 15 people would not be able to do that
And it used to
for
be
a whole.
hundreds. They said it was like a
Yeah.
huge department.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, what are you going to do there? Something obviously needs to be done, or people are gonna leave, because it's just, if it turns into this Wild West free for all of saying whatever horrible thing you want all the time, why would you want to be on there?
Mhm.
The $8 verification, I think I want to know. It's kind of like what you said. Like, what are the other advantages that you're getting? Okay, you want somebody to pay that much, but really, in a way, it just seems like you're taking something away and being like, okay, now I'll give it back to you if you pay. But
Yeah.
what are some of the, what are the bonuses? What do you get with that? Longer video, that could be of value if that turns into something that's actually gets, seen, if you're going to like push those tweets up higher. But then again, if it's open for everybody and everybody pays the $8, then who's getting amplified
Who's
over the other
game?
person?
That's like Netflix. And then he's
Yeah.
saying that, people can create content and then he'll show revenue on Twitter. But then, like, Twitter is like sort of like texting and news. Are we turning Twitter into TikTok and YouTube? Because
Yeah.
I feel like that's not like what Twitter was about. But
Yeah.
maybe Twitter is just evolving into something we don't even know.
Well, I think, and that's actually one of the things I was going to bring up, something that he actually brought up about where in the long term, and again, it's just Elon saying things, so anything can change with him. Where's our Cybertrucks? But so, so,
Exactly.
so, who knows? But this is what he kind of said, and it's kind of exactly what you just mentioned, that he wants to eventually like this is the stepping stone toward an app called X that would be an app for everything, according to him. And it seems like he's kind of modeling it after WeChat and some of the like maybe WeChat and Weibo and some of the different ones in China, the different social
Mhm.
media networks, where you can do like everything on there. So it's
Mhm.
not it's a Twitter, it's a Facebook, it's you share video, all that stuff, but you also pay for things. It's accepted as a payment system in stores. There's really does do a whole bunch of things, and it seems like that's where he wants to model this after and eventually move it in that direction,
Mhm.
which to me that's just, I mean, that's not what Twitter is. So it's like, okay, so you just want to get rid of Twitter and you want to create this, and this, you just bought a stepping stone for it.
He basically just bought the following. He did what most
Yeah,
influencers would love to do, right? He
yeah,
basically bought a platform that had a bunch of very active engagement, and he just
yep,
bought it, and now he'll do what he wants with it.
yeah, yeah. And now he'll, yeah, I mean, it's his to do. When
Mhm.
you
He
have
got rich,
44 billion dollars, you can just do that.
but he wants it
And
back. He does want it back. We do know
yeah,
that.
oh yeah, yeah, he'll want it back for sure. So it's just, I don't know. I wish they would. And again, he doesn't have to do this. I get it. He can do whatever he wants, as he's made very clear. But I wish he would just come out with some kind of statement, like some kind of clarification. Being like, here is what I want. Here is how I see this going. At least some kind of a plan, just so we're not all just sitting here in the dark waiting on his every tweet. But that's
I
probably
feel
what he
like he's
wants.
not a planning type. Do you feel like,
Yeah,
Craig?
yeah, I
He's
definitely.
brilliant, but I'm not sure that he seems to be very impulsive. At least
Yeah,
on Twitter, we're seeing that. I mean, bringing a sync into Twitter for the first day of work, it just seems very
yeah.
impulsive.
Yeah. I mean, and it's one thing if you're doing that with SpaceX or Tesla, like that's your company. If somebody's
You do
employed
you.
there,
Yeah.
that's, what you're getting if you go work for a company, and that's how he is. But now we all get a taste of it. It affects
Mhm.
everybody who's on that platform. And it's just going to be, I think it's going to get crazier before we understand what exactly is going to be happening. And like you said, he's maybe not a planner, so he may not have any idea. He may just
Exactly.
be testing something out. I'm like, I'm going to do this. Nah, now I won't. So it's going to get wild.
It will get wild.
Yeah. Well, it already is, I guess. So, so yeah, we'll see where it goes and what happens with that. But that was just, I kind of wanted to talk about that and get your opinion too about Twitter. And if anybody has opinions on that, please drop those in.
Yes,
Put those
please.
comments
We
on there.
see a lot. Yeah, we see a lot of content right now. It's coming in. Sadiq has all definitely says actually he bought for a Tesla advertisement for free, possibly because Tesla shares are going down. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah. 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 Because it's going to affect all of his other stuff too, you would think. But we'll have to see. Have to see where it all goes. So yeah, keep those comments coming in. But if you want, we can talk about some other things too. So I do have two different topics on artificial intelligence that were trending. I mean, everything's all Twitter this week for every kind of news source. But we have two different things. So one is the AI that Google is releasing, and that has to do with actually talking about using weather data to help plan out floods. So not plan out floods, but to warn people about potential floods. And I thought this was a really good use case of AI and how it can actually help people out. So they've been using their artificial intelligence platforms to help out with wildfire detection before, but now this is particularly being released in areas of the world where bad flooding has occurred. And there's a map, it's called Flood Hub, that you can use. Right now, it is being used primarily in Africa and South America. And if you take a look at it, you can go there to this Flood Hub website, and you can actually see there some different things, showing where there's potential floods. And they said they could get up to maybe even, I think it was up to like a week notification, just analyzing all this data to actually see, where potential floods are, and just to give that somebody that much of a warning. I think that's great. Just to have that ability there to warn people, like, okay, a few days from now, there is a good chance this could be flooding. Now you can actually prepare. And previously they said the most they could really do was about 48 hours to analyze it. So that's to me a good use of a company using their mass amounts of data for good. So we've got that. That was kind of one of the big things, I wanted to bring up there, just talking about how that artificial intelligence is being used. The other thing has to do with speaking to animals. And this is based on a book that's coming out right now that's talking about using artificial intelligence and the massive amounts of data that we have out there for nature and for everything else, for all the recordings that we have and all the information, compiling all that and figuring out how to communicate with animals. So this is a book by a woman named Kathy Baker, and there's a couple of key ones that she talked about in it. One of them has to do with being able to speak to bees. And as you can see right here, this is actually from a German company. They came out with this a couple of years ago, but now it's being utilized a little bit more. So that floating thing right there, that kind of little sponge, doesn't look like a bee to us, but to a bee it does. And honeybees in particular communicate with their dances, and so they've figured out how they can move this thing in there into the hive, have it dance, and actually explain information to the bees. They said they've been able to get them to go like to a certain side of the hive, or eventually what they want to be able to do is explain where they can go. So be like, hey, go to this section of flowers, pollinate these, and actually talk to the bees. That kind of thing is just crazy to me that they would be able to do that. So that's just fascinating seeing where that goes. And there's a thing called Hiveopolis where they want to create these robot beehives that would be run by AI. So that's pretty
crazy,
cool.
Craig.
Yeah,
that's
talking to bees.
That's amazing. Like you said that they could use technology and get bees to go to one section of wow.
Yeah, like one section of the hive, they've been able to really figure out a bunch of stuff, and it's all because of artificial intelligence, really, because it's analyzing the movements of the bees, what that correlates to. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that could take years and years and years if it's just humans doing it, but putting all this mass data in there, and that's what's actually going to be helping. Oh, Vicky says I'm a beekeeper.
Yeah, Vicky's a beekeeper. Vicky,
wow,
that is
cool.
So cool. How many bees you have, Vicky?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Vicky saying the bee, the dance. Oh, Vicky probably knows this stuff.
Probably, yeah. Vicky, I'm sure knows way more than I do about this.
Trained beekeeper. Impressive, Vicky.
That sounds pretty supernatural.
Joshua saying talking to animals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, this is something that probably wouldn't be happening before, but now with all this information we have in the way that it's changing so fast of how we can analyze the data, that stuff's happening. So we have the B one right there, but then the other one, another project, there's a bunch of projects, there's lots of them, but another one that she highlighted is this thing called Project SETI, and it's not like SETI, it's CETI. It's like Cetacean Translation Institute. I may have forgot what the I is, but anyway, it has to do with talking to whales. So, and these are sperm whales in particular that this group is working toward. And what they've done is they've created these different boxes that can record all the sounds that these whales make. That's how they communicate. They have their own way of doing that. We all know that part, but this is recording them all and then taking all of that data and jumping it basically into a program with artificial intelligence and combining all of that information with information that's already known about the whales, their patterns, where they go, what they do, what they eat, and then trying to match that up with the sounds that are being made to see if we can figure out what basically the whale language would be. And their goal is to, in a few years, to potentially have a whale chatbot to where they can send out information to whales, whether it be, warning them, don't go over here, this is dangerous, or this is, some whatever it is that they want to tell them, to maybe help save them in some way, some aspects, and just to be able to do that, to maybe even communicate back and forth. That sounds just wild. I know Crossix Spider said it sounds supernatural. It does, but with technology, you never know. And the faster the AI is, the more it can compile this data. They may, in fact, create a whale chatbot.
How cool will that be? I mean, Greg, like, so then we'll be able to communicate with animals, more creatures on Earth. I think, talk about powerful. That's powerful stuff. And I just want to welcome Carlos is joining us on YouTube. I thank you so much for joining us after your workday. We certainly appreciate it. But so Greg is talking about using AI and communicating with animals. I mean, how cool is that? I feel like when I hear you say this, Greg, it reminds me of like watching Marvel movies. And like at some point, there's like, somebody that we need to fight, and we call the whales, and we call the elephants, and we call the bees to come and help us.
Yeah, right. I mean, who knows where it can go? That elephants are actually another one that she mentioned, as far as figuring out, what all of their sounds mean and communicating with them. I mean, we're not quite there with dogs yet, but there's a bunch of research going on in that too. I don't know if I want to know everything that my dog is saying. Like maybe
I'm
I'd like
sure
to be able to tell him some things, but I don't know if I want to know what he's saying to me.
he's probably just happy all the time. I just feel
I
like,
wish.
really?
Well, I did get a new dog, and he's 90 pounds, but he's not quite 2 years old yet. So
Oh, wow.
he's kind of a giant puppy. So
Uh-huh.
we have some things. Otherwise, he's pretty good most of the time. But
Him
I
must
would
be
like to
so
tell him
cute.
some things to be able to explain some things to him. Yeah, there he is. That's Bowie.
Oh my goodness, Bowie's so cute.
He is very cute. He photographs much smaller than he is in real life. Yeah, because in real
90
life he is a
pounds.
big boy.
Yeah, 90 pounds. Oh my goodness. That weighs more than my second child. My second child is 10 years old. Wow. Bowie's big boy.
Yep. He's a big boy. But I would like the AI to help me explain some things to him sometimes.
Well, Tedra would like to talk to her cats because she'd like to know what the cats are thinking. And then Vicky is saying so cute. I know, really so cute. And Carlos is all happy there. Carlos, we're just so grateful that you're here. And we're grateful to everybody here. But yeah.
Seriously, yeah. Thank you everybody for joining in, and thanks for talking to us too. And thanks to everybody who keeps sending me articles and cool things to talk about and things that you find interesting, because I love seeing that and catching up on that. So really, really appreciate it. And this show's so much fun.
That's what I'm telling. And we just say special thank you, Greg, to, of course, everybody who helps share the show. So if you don't mind, want to help us out, share the show on your social media channels, tag Greg Nibbler, tag Winnie's son, so we know that you're doing it, and so we can properly thank you. So big, huge this week, want to say big thank you to Vicky Garvey, who's really gone above and beyond in that realm and helped us out, and same with Sadiq and Joshua. Thank you so much for sharing the show with someone that you care about. We do this, as you know, because of you. We love to be here with you weekend and week out, and it's been a great week. We just celebrated Halloween. And by the way, Greg, you still owe us a picture of your Halloween costume. I didn't trust
I do.
So maybe next week we'll be able to see a picture. That'll be really fun. But we have another really fun show scheduled for you, planned for you next week. So definitely tune in. And like Greg says, if you think of anything, you read anything that you think we should share in the show or we should just know about, definitely tag us, because we love that. It's so much fun.
Please do. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it so much. And yeah, like Winnie said, we'll talk to you next week.
We'll talk to you next week. Have a great week. Take care.
Bye.